Hello and welcome to Express Drives. Today we have the new generation Mercedes-Benz C-Class. Now it already has got its hands full because it's going to take on its traditional rivals or competition like the Audi A4 and the BMW 3 Series. But times have changed now because with a slew of new and upcoming EV vehicles, it'll actually take on them as well. So has Mercedes-Benz done enough to entice the customers to opt for the brand new C-Class, and can it wade away all these brand new cars? Well, that's what we're going to find out today. Also, if you have not subscribed our channel, please do so and don't hesitate to press on that thumbs up. Like most generations, we have seen that the styling elements trickle down from the S-Class, and in case of the new C-Class, well, it's a bit of a mixed bag because it does have the design elements from the S-Class, like you see the sweeping LED headlamps, but the front grille is very different. It is more inspired from the AMG trim, but of course it gets an AMG kit version which has that three-pointed studs, but in this case it's just a black front grille with a thick chrome line. Now it's a lot more smarter, it looks a lot more sleeker, but then hey, that is my opinion. Now no prizes in guessing that the brand new C-Class is longer and wider than the outgoing generation. But what catches your eye is its silhouette and the side profile. It is a lot more proportionate, and you gotta take that extra second to look at its swooping C-pillar. It just looks gorgeous. Now this version, now we have the C200 with us. So this version comes with 17-inch alloy wheels. The higher variants come with an 18-inch alloy wheels, but there's a huge advantage of opting for the smaller or the lower 17-inch ones, and we'll tell you about it when we talk about the ride and handling. Now coming to the rear, it looks just like the S-Class, or is it the E-Class? Maybe the A-Class. No, actually it looks like all of them, because that is the typical Mercedes-Benz design language. It is a very clean design, so it ages gracefully. But yeah, we'll tell you something. You look at the dual exhausts here. Well, the sad part is this is a dummy. It's not the actual thing. The actual thing is right here. It's hidden, tucked in here. That's not something that we would like to see in a Mercedes-Benz, but hell, it's there, so you can't do anything about it. But otherwise, the total package, design-wise, it looks really grown up. It looks a lot more muscular, and we really like the way it looks. Why don't you tell us how the new C-Class looks? Now, before we step into the cabin, let's check out the boot capacity. Now, based on the specs, it offers 455 liters, which is not too bad, but yeah, it's not up to the mark when you compare it to its competition. But the catch here is the spare wheel, the kit, they all are on the floor. So the thing is, it eats into your space. So it's extremely limited. Best thing is, if you are using your car for daily commute, best is keep it at home so you'll have some more space. Otherwise, it's fairly alright, and you can work around it. Now when you step inside the C-Class, you could be easily mistaken that you're sitting in the S-Class. It is just so full of opulence. Now it comes with this dark tan leather upholstery, which is very classy. Then the dash itself has these two layers. One is the leather section, and then the lower part has this wood finish. Very, very classy stuff. Then you have the 3-pod AC here. They are like metal finished, and the quality, let me just tell you, the click shows how good the quality is. Just hear it. See, that is how impressive Mercedes-Benz quality is. You know, the attention to detail is really, really impressive. Then moving forward to the driver console, the cluster is a 12.3 digital display, and it also comes with a brand new steering wheel and comes with capacitive buttons. Now the right hand side has all the controls for your instrument cluster, while the left hand side has all the controls for your infotainment system. It's extremely simple, very easy to use. Now we're talking about the infotainment system, so we have to talk about this gorgeous 11.9-inch screen. It is extremely easy to use. It feels like one of your personal devices. It's very intuitive and very responsive. The graphics are very clear, and it has all the functions that you want. It's just right there in the home display, so it's very easy again. Then it also has a band of touch buttons right here, like your music system sound control. You can switch off the infotainment system if you want, hazard lamps. But what is interesting is that you can actually set your profile in this infotainment system, and then it has a biometric reader or a scanner as well. So based on your biometric, it accustoms to your profile. So that's a very smart thing to do. Then of course it has that you can just click on the camera view and it tells you about your shows your rear view camera, and you come back to home, and you can also choose your various driving modes like eco, comfort, sport, and of course individual, which you can customize. Now the Achilles heel in most of the vehicles in this segment is that the rear space for the passengers in the back, it's quite limited. When you look at legroom or headroom, it feels cramped. But that's not the case with the new C-Class. As we mentioned earlier, that it is now longer and wider than the previous generation, and you can see that there is just plenty of knee room. And if you look at it closely, they have very smartly crafted the front seats as well, so that you have additional space. But even if it was like normally designed, you would still have more than enough space. So I can even slide my feet underneath the seat if required. And when it comes to my height, the headroom is pretty much all right. But again, if you're a bit taller than me, like around 6 feet, then yeah, there would be a bit of an issue for you. It also comes with reading lights right here, so another additional or practical feature. Obviously it comes with an armrest. Now you click it once, there's a slot comes in, and you can just place your phone right here, and you can watch while you're driven somewhere. And if you want the cup holders, click again, and the two cup holders pop up. Now what is a bit surprising here is that it does not come with any controls for your AC vents, no HVAC controls or anything of that sort. And also you won't find any charging ports, which is quite surprising. You have one Type-C charging port right there in the center console for the front passenger, and there are two other Type-C ports, but they're actually tucked inside the armrest in front. So that's a bit weird, but alright, but you still have an option nonetheless. And what else is there? Yeah, you also have this additional slot here. You can put in some, I don't know, newspaper, books, whatever you prefer. So additional spaces there. The seats are extremely comfortable. The front seats especially are very supportive, especially the side bolsters. I mean, they really just wrap around you. So you get a very good supportive feeling here. In the back too, it's not bad. I mean, if you sit in your regular position, maybe a little bit of under thigh support it may be lacking, but again, nothing really to complain about. It's a very comfortable place to be in, and yes, definitely very luxurious place to be in. So we mentioned earlier that the cabin of the C-Class is extremely luxurious. It's a good place to be in. It pampers you, and honestly, there's no other cabin in this segment like the C-Class. But how does it feel to be behind the steering wheel? Because not everybody's going to be chauffeur driven. Well, we are driving the C200, and it's powered by the 1.5 litre 4-cylinder petrol, and it churns out around 201 bhp. Now it might not sound really a scorcher, but it's not supposed to be either. Now all C-Class engines, may it be petrol or diesel, they come standard with a 48 volt electric system. So what does it actually do? What's the advantage of it? Well, very simple. It offers that additional 20 bhp or 200 Nm of torque depending on the requirement, and when you are crawling in a start-stop traffic or a slow traffic, that burden of the engine taking the load is transferred to the motor, so there you save fuel. So that's the advantage there. So the low end torque or the low end power band of this engine is very, very healthy. Now if you want to step on the gas, that's where you feel the mid-range power is its weakness. You need to rev it hard, you need to push it a bit so that it builds momentum. Now when you build momentum and when it really does pick up speed, that's where the engine then starts to feel a bit stressed. The engine noise starts to seep into the cabin. Otherwise the cabin is a very quiet place to be in. You can actually attain zen here. So it is that quiet. So that is the hindsight of it. Now it is mated to a 9-speed automatic, and that is a lot of gears, yes, but that is also the reason why it is fuel efficient. According to the ARI figures, it returns around 16.9 kilometers per liter. Now that is quite impressive. But when you step on the gas, that's where the 9-speed automatic starts to get a bit confused. It's not too sure when to upshift, downshift, and the confusion continues when you use the paddle shifters. So there is a bit of a problem there. Not a problem, but there is a bit of a lag there, and it's not really the fastest also, the transmission box. But again, we mentioned earlier, for commuting, for your daily requirements in the city, you really have no big issues. Now in terms of handling, you'll be surprised to know that it really is very solid when it takes turns on high speeds. It is really up to the mark, and Mercedes-Benz has worked really hard on this, and that is commendable. Now it also remains very solid when it takes turns. That's another very good thing, and a lot also has to do with the steering wheel. It is very communicative, and the weight is spot on. It is not heavy, not light, so the driving experience is very pleasurable, effortless rather. Obviously it is not equipped with the air suspension like the S-Class, but nonetheless its standard suspension setup is really good. It goes over potholes, it neutralizes potholes, and it sails over undulations. On top of that, it also has that 17-inch alloy wheel. Now if you remember, we had mentioned about it before. Now because it doesn't use low profile tires, that also improves the ride quality. So even the rear passengers are well pampered. Now the suspension setup can be tuned a bit because it has multiple driving modes: eco, comfort, sport, and of course individual. Individual is you can customize it according to your requirements. So sport is when the suspension setup tightens up a bit more, and the lean of the vehicle or the body roll of the vehicle is reduced quite a bit when you take turns. So it has multiple options. And while we are talking about different modes also, we mentioned earlier also about the 12.3-inch driver console. Well, that too also comes with various modes. Now it comes with an understated mode, then of course the sport mode, then there is also the classic mode, which has your digital but analog meters. And if you just want to get rid of the entire instrument cluster and put your navigation, then the entire place is taken over by the map. So it has a lot of interesting yet practical functions. Priced at 55 lakhs ex showroom, the C200 no doubt is an expensive proposition, but then the sort of cabin it offers, the bucket loads of features it brings in, it is in a different class altogether. Sure, the engine could have been a bit more responsive, a bit more powerful, but then if you commute on a daily basis, you really won't have a problem with it. Keep in mind, it's also a fuel efficient car. And yes, the boot is also limited, but then you can get over all these issues because they're very minor issues. So yes, the C-Class definitely takes it to the next level.